Hi, I'm Supervisor Don Knabe. I'm pleased to welcome you back to another episode of Dialed In. As I've mentioned before in this program, Los Angeles County is one of the arts and entertainment capitals of the world, with world-class cultural gems throughout an entire region. Residents have their choice of places to go. But when it comes to taking in music and the arts during the warm summer nights, there is no better place to visit than the Hollywood Bowl and John Anson Ford Theatres. Nestled in the Hollywood Hills, these two icons are the premier venues to take in a performance from the Los Angeles Philharmonic, an opera, Shakespeare, jazz, while sitting outside under the stars. This month on Dialed In, I'm pleased to welcome the Executive Director of the Los Angeles Philharmonic Association and the Executive Director of the Los Angeles County Arts Commission to talk about the history of these two classic venues and what's in store for visitors this summer. I hope you'll enjoy the show.
Maybe he's really focused.
Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today.
You!
No! Your fault.
My fault?
Your fault.
You're right.
What?
It's my fault.
What do you mean your fault?
You're right, it's my fault. Maybe both of us.
Maybe just you.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try.
Hi. Hi. Listen to me. I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late,
She doesn't really think she's going to get out of here, does she?
Be nice. She's new.
Hello, is anyone there? Ugh.
Wow. Even from our standards, you look awful.
Oh, sweetie, what happened?
Me? My friend Becky got to talk to this super cute boy, and I tried to act like I wasn't jealous, but I so totally was. And then out of nowhere, this concrete barrier just popped up. Maybe it was a semi.
You mean you were driving?
Yeah. I mean, I know the whole eyes on the road thing, but this was a super important text. Maybe you have to know, Becky.
Texting? Great.
But it was only like 5 seconds, and I'm a really, really fast texter, so it wasn't even a big deal. Actually, has she texted me back yet? Wow, I get like no bars in this place. I wonder if they have Wi-Fi here.
Welcome back to Dial In. My first guest today is Gail Samuel, the Executive Director of the Los Angeles Philharmonic Association. Gail's career started with the LA Phil almost 24 years ago when she joined the Orchestra Operations Department. Now as Executive Director, she oversees operations at the Hollywood Bowl, as well as programming at both the Hollywood Bowl and the Walt Disney Concert Hall. Gail, thanks for joining me today.
Of course, my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, when we talk about the county, we do a lot, and a lot of times our viewers don't know everything there is to know. So maybe you could tell us what the Hollywood Bowl is, where it's located. Give us a little brief history.
Sure. Well, the Hollywood Bowl is an outdoor performance venue, of course, but I think the thing a lot of people may not know is that it's a county park. It's part of the Department of Parks and Recreation for the county, and owned by the county, and then managed and operated by the LA Philharmonic for all the performances that go on. So for those that don't know, it's located basically where Highland meets the 101 in a massive traffic zone, but it's a very urban park and an urban performance space.
You know, it's one of those facilities that's beautiful when it's empty.
Yeah.
And it's one of those facilities that's absolutely magnificent when it's full.
Yeah.
So is the Hollywood Bowl open year-round?
Yes, it is open year-round, and we have a lot of visitors who come just in the what we call our off season, so when there aren't concerts going on, who come on tour buses and just to visit and walk around, and it's open all day. The only time we close it is when we have to close to prepare for a show, or maybe when there's a rehearsal that an artist wants to have closed. But it is open all year.
So how many people a year come to the Bowl?
Well, we have over 1 million who come to go to concerts, and then we estimate
how many?
About over 1 million.
Wow.
A year who go to concerts, and then we estimate about 1 million in addition who just come by and visit at some point during the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I've been up there in the morning for events or receptions or things like that, you have a lot of people that exercise at the Hollywood Bowl, walking up and down those steps. I mean, that's great exercise.
That's become very popular, actually, just coming early and climbing those stairs, because there's a lot of them. I've never actually counted the stairs, but it's a hike.
And I wouldn't want to.
No, it's a
I mean,
big
even
hike.
though I have a Fitbit, I can do without that, right?
If you get up to the top, though, it's a beautiful view. At the very back of the seating area, you see over the shell of the stage, and you can see the Hollywood sign. It's a great photo opportunity.
I know. I have to admit, I did it once.
Did you?
Just to see the view, because someone said you need to see the view, and it was
yeah.
a daytime thing.
It's beautiful.
So is it just classical music, or what happens?
No, it's a little bit of everything. I think one of the things we really pride ourselves in is we want there to be something at the bowl for every taste and every listener to come, and every citizen of the county to come and visit and hear. So we have classical music with the LA Philharmonic. We have a jazz series. We have a world music series that we curate with KCRW, bringing in some electronic music and things like that. And we have a whole pop series, in addition to some rock shows that come in. So there's a huge range, and there actually has been over the history of the venue.
It's an amazing facility. I mean, I've been to all the different kinds, I think, of performance, from classical to rock to whatever. But it's sort of painful at times getting there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you hit the wrong day or traffic, but most of the time it's relatively easy. Now we have the buses that the county provides. I mean, those are, I can't tell you how many people in my district, we get the thank yous. Thank you for providing the buses. It costs them a little bit, but it's much easier letting somebody else do the driving.
Yeah. In fact, I always think of my dentist takes the Lakewood bus all the time, and he always talks about how much he loves on Friday night, especially when the traffic can be so bad, hopping on the bus and going. And there's 14 park and ride locations throughout the venue, in addition to 4 shuttle stops kind of nearer the bowl, but you can park for free and take a shuttle in. So there's a lot of options.
So can you give us some of the famous performances that have been there? I mean, we know the Playboy Jazz Festival, right?
Yeah. The thing about the history of the bowl, I think, is that it's like the history of the greatest artists of every genre. So from the Beatles to Frank Sinatra to Nat King Cole to Jascha Heifetz, the violinist, Itzhak Perlman and Yo-Yo Ma. It's really the Rolling Stones and Billy Joel. It's all over the map. And in fact, early in the history of the bowl, back in the 20s, there were these spectacular performances of operas and theater where, and I was reading that there was a performance of Wagner's and Wagner de Valkyrie, and they actually had horses coming down the hill. This is before there was a full show.
Wow.
There were horses coming down the hills behind, and just real spectacles in the early days.
Well, even now, I mean, one of the most popular shows is just right around the 4th of July with the fireworks, correct?
Yes. And this year, our artist for that show is the band Chicago.
Oh, so really? Chicago?
Yes. So 3 nights, July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And that's the one show in the summer where kids are half price, so it's a very family atmosphere. And we have Chicago, which I'm really excited about.
That's great. I love Chicago.
Yeah.
So there's also leased events, right? You mentioned that.
Yes.
What give them an example of a leased event?
We work with a rock and roll promoter, basically, Andy Hewitt and Bill Silva. And so the artists that come in the lease events are those ones, like, for example, the Rolling Stones, Billy Joel, Andrea Bocelli has been under their purview. We work very closely together. They're a great partner, but it brings in some other artists. The Cure are coming this year. So really, the really rock and roll folks who play more kind of stadium and arena shows.
I don't want to be a name dropper, but I was there for the Bocelli.
Yeah.
What an incredible evening.
It's always
with that voice. And that beautiful evening. It was, perfect weather.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just spectacular.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But always have to remember to tell people to bring a jacket.
Yeah.
For some reason, it always gets chilly, no matter how hard you are at the beginning, right?
I know. No, it can get chilly, but we don't say the R word.
We don't say the R word. No. So what kind of educational opportunities and programs are available for the youth through the Hollywood Bowl?
Well, it's as a park, it's like we said, open all the time, and there's a small museum, the Ed Edelman Hollywood Bowl Museum. that's there that has a lot of exhibits about the history of the bowl and some really interesting things. There's also a series of panels throughout the venue kind of telling the history. We call it the Bowl Walk, and you can pick up a brochure, it's online, and walk through. And in the mornings, for 4 weeks of summer, we have a program called Summer Sounds, which is world music kind of programs for kids, kind of ages, I would say 3 to 6 or so, and so we get parents and kids coming to those.
So it's a sort of a family event. I mean, are they generated out of parks, or how do they come as families?
Sometimes it's camps, but mostly it's sort of mostly it's moms and kids or grandparents and kids coming who need something to do on a summer morning. They're not on the main stage; they're in another location on site near the museum. But they're I think 30 to 45 minutes long, but just really nice little programs.
Fun time.
Yeah,
Fun time. So the summer season schedule just came out, as I understand, correct? So let's play a game.
Okay.
What would be a good performance to take the kids and family to this summer?
In particular this summer, there's one that we just programmed, which is that we're going to be showing the movie Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone with the LA Philharmonic playing the score live.
Oh, wow.
And that's something that we've been doing more and have been really very popular. So that's a great one. Later in the summer, for slightly older kids, we're also doing the movie Star Trek, the more recent version of Star Trek. And you know, the thing about kids at the Bowl, though, is they're always welcome. There's no age limit to coming to any regular show. So, for example, our Tchaikovsky Spectacular, which is a weekend each year, has fireworks, and that can be very popular. One of my favorites, I have boys who are 10 and 9, and they're really looking forward to Weird Al this summer. So.
Wow. Is Weird Al coming?
Weird Al is coming in July.
Oh, wow. Oh, that'll be a very popular show. So what about, I'm a rock and roll guy. What about rock and roll? What's happening?
Well, in addition to Chicago, our opening night is Steely Dan this year. And then at the very end of the summer, we actually have ELO coming.
Oh, really?
For 3 nights to do our finale, our fireworks finale weekend, which we're thrilled about and is getting a lot of buzz those 3 nights. So I'm very excited about them.
So there's still plenty of tickets available, right?
Yes. Well, single tickets go on sale actually this coming Sunday, May 1st. So there's a lot of availability.
So what about a performance featuring the works of a classic composer?
Well, there's really no limit to that. I mean, every Tuesday and Thursday for the 10 weeks of the Hollywood Bowl season is the LA Philharmonic. And so there's a lot of great shows. We have our music director, Gustavo Dudamel, at the end of July doing, I think, 2 weeks of programs, including a full concert version of West Side Story, which will be amazing.
Yeah, it'll be amazing.
Yeah.
So maybe you can explain to the viewers, on very specific nights, very specific shows take place, and sort of give them an idea, besides Elise events, but Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah, so we kind of have a standard rundown of the week a little bit. So Tuesday and Thursday are classical with the LA Philharmonic. Wednesday is our jazz night. So Wednesday there's, I think, an 8-concert jazz series that we do. Fridays and Saturdays are pops, which can range from a Tchaikovsky night to ELO or a film. So and John Williams is coming back again this year for a weekend. And so that's kind of our weekend slot. And then Sundays are we have our KCRW World Festival. So those are things like this year we have Brian Wilson with Pet Sounds. We have Kraftwerk, which is a great electronic band, one of the first electronic bands. And a number of it's a very mixed bag on those. We have a reggae night on the Sunday nights. And then a small sort of what we call the Sunset Series on Sunday, which is more kind of back to the pops and classical side.
And the performances on Sunday are somewhat earlier, right?
They're just a half an hour earlier. Yeah. Well, some of them start at 7 or 7:30, depending on the show.
So how can our viewers learn more about the Hollywood Bowl and follow up on the schedule if they're not on the mailing list or email? What is your web?
HollywoodBowl.com is the best place to go, and that has everything from the schedule and getting to buy tickets to information about our food services at the Bowl. The Bowl, I'd love to mention, is one of the few concert venues where you actually can bring your own food and drink.
Right.
So, which is really great. So we have tons of, as a park, we have tons of picnic areas all around the grounds.
I mean, it's a happening. before
Yeah.
before the events at the bowl. I mean, I know sometimes it's limited on a leased event whether you can bring your own wine or
Right.
something, but
Right.
one of the few venues you can bring your own wine and just have it a beautiful evening
Yeah.
under the stars. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing like it. So
Yeah, some nights there's a mad rush at the main gate because people have their favorite picnic areas they like to get to, so they line up, and when the gates open, there's
yeah, I would
kind of
advise
a
anyone who wants to
scramble.
picnic early. I mean, there's territorial
Yeah.
people up there that have been there for years, but it's always
Yes.
fun and it's always pleasant. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking the time to be with
course.
us today, and we're looking forward to the season and
Good.
another great venue in Los Angeles County, and
Yeah.
encourage everyone to go out, and if you've never been to the Hollywood Bowl, I just tell you need to go. So
Absolutely.
and again, thank you very much for your
Of
time, and thank you
course.
for all you do. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
All God's children, we got to come together and share the good feeling. 'Cause nothing ever gonna make this world better if we don't start believing that love really, really, really is the answer. Everybody join hands 'cause it's time now. Spread the love, spread the love all over the world. Spread it all over the world. If we just love each other, and lift up one another, shine a light from every heart. Now. We got to spread the love all over the world. We've got to spread the love.
Welcome back to Dial In. My next guest is Laura Zucker, Executive Director of the Los Angeles County Commission of the Arts, which programs and operates the John Anson Ford Amphitheater. It's been 2 years of renovations. The historic amphitheater is set to reopen with 4 months of music, dance, theater, and film. So thank you for joining me, Laura. Nice
So
to have
delighted to be here.
So before we talk about the Ford Theater, let's talk about the Arts Commission. What does it do?
What is this Arts Commission?
Yeah.
It's a cultural affairs department for the whole county, really. Our job is to support the arts ecology, principally the nonprofit arts ecology. You know that 1 in 6 jobs in LA County is in the creative occupations. So we're really about supporting all of that infrastructure, and we do it through grants to nonprofit arts organizations, professional development opportunities, the largest arts internship paid in the country, arts education, which I know you're passionate about, a huge program in arts education. We manage the county's civic art policy that includes art in all public projects. And of course, we have public productions and run the John Anson Ford Amphitheater.
So on the Arts Commission, if these community-based group might be sitting out there. How do they apply? How do they get involved in this process?
So they should go to the County Arts Commission website, lacountyarts.org, and all of the opportunities are laid out there. And there's so many opportunities for members of the public to participate, arts organizations, artists to participate, and they can click on each program and see when opportunities and deadlines are coming up.
And discuss maybe a little bit more about the arts. I mean, as you mentioned, you know I'm passionate about arts education.
You are.
And some of the kinds of things that we do as a county, and particularly through your organization, to really enhance and expand arts education throughout the county.
Well, people may not generally know that the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors adopted a regional plan for arts education in 2002 called Arts for All. We have 81 school districts in the county, and the objective of this plan is to make sure that all 1.6 million students in public school in LA County get quality arts education. We're currently working in 62 out of the 81 school districts in 2 charter networks, and the objective is to be fully to scale by 2020, and we do it in a wide variety of ways.
And you also, the Arts for the Disabled, you also have a big program downtown every year, correct? Where you bring in kids and operations and entertainment and...
And that's really the Music Center, which is another fabulous county facility that does a special day around the Special Olympics and arts for the disabled. But the Arts Commission also funds programs of nonprofits that work in that area.
All right, let's segue that way into your other hat, and that's the John Anson Ford Amphitheater.
Yes.
Maybe you can give us a little history of the theater. Again, it's always amazing to me, that county residents in my own district or throughout when you're out and around that have never been to the Hollywood Bowl, never heard of the Ford Theater or have been there, never been to Catalina. So why don't you give us a little history, because it's right across the street, right?
Yes, well, it's a huge county, and I have to admit, even for someone who's steeped in the arts and culture of LA County, every time I turn around, there's something new to explore, which is great. This is the best place to be an urban explorer, right?
Exactly.
The Ford is right opposite the freeway, as you said, from the Hollywood Bowl. They're both county regional parks. Of course, the Hollywood Bowl is 18,000 seats, and the Ford is 1,200 seats. So it's a much, much more intimate venue. But the land for both was originally bought in the 1920s by Christine Witherall Stevenson, by the same person. She was the heiress to the Pittsburgh paint fortune, and the Ford was originally known as the Pilgrimage Theater. And she bought the land and built the theater to produce an Easter pageant that she had written. And the county, the land was deeded to the county in the 1940s and started to be run by Parks and Recreation, and now is a partnership with the Arts Commission and a private foundation, the Ford Theater Foundation.
So let's talk about programming out there. I mean, what are some of the things that happen out there? I know it's not just music. I've been there several occasions. It's a very intimate facility, and just great programming, and the lights and the deer and everything behind you. I mean, it's just an amazing facility. So maybe we can talk about some of the events, because I know it's not just music.
So it's on a 32-acre park, and one of the plans for the future, by the way, is a hiking trail so people can enjoy new views of the Hollywood sign. And by the way, we sometimes put out hay for the deers. We have a really great family of deer who live.
Yes. And they love the theater.
Yes, they do. All the wildlife loves the theater, which the kids love too.
Yeah.
The Ford is the opposite of the Bowl in the way that it's configured. At the Hollywood Bowl, you sit in a terrific man-made seating area, a natural amphitheater, and you look at a man-made shell, a beautiful man-made shell. At the Ford, you sit in a man-made amphitheater and you look at the beautiful hillside, which is why you get to see all of the wildlife. And as you said, it's very intimate, 1,200 seats. The furthest seat from the stage is 96 feet. So the Ford is reopening after 21 months of construction, a close to $66 million complete reconstruction of the facility, which is fabulous, and we can talk about. The opening weekend is July 8th, 9th, 10th. And just to give you a sense of the eclectic programming, the first night will be the Taiko Project, which is Japanese drumming, with Quetzal, a fantastic Mexican-American band that does a mashup and works together beautifully. The second night of the opening weekend will be Aloe Black, a fantastic African-American songwriter-singer based here in Los Angeles. And the third will be Broadway Under the Stars, which is reuniting the original cast of Dreamgirls.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah. With the original cast with Jennifer Holliday and Cheryl Lee Ralph.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome night.
Yeah.
I'll save you some tickets.
All right. So what's attendance like? I mean,
so the Ford
probably sold out every night, right?
The Ford is very, very popular. And as a matter of fact, we announced the season last week. And one of the shows, which is based on the music of the TV series Lost, went viral and sold out in an hour. But we're adding a second show for people who are watching that will be announced soon. But the Ford is able to host about 45,000 people each summer.
Wow.
And part of the projection for the master plan for the Ford is to really fully utilize the site, not only just the amphitheater, so that it is a park that is open year-round, every day, like the Bowl is.
Is it open year-round now, or?
Not right now. No. The amphitheater is just being programmed in the summer, but the longer-term vision for the development of the park.
So this 2-year renovation, what are some of the things that happened there? What did that entail?
So this phase of it was really turned into a reconstruction, centered all in and around the historic amphitheater, which is wedged into a canyon. And what started our looking at all of this work is water would flow down the canyon and through the amphitheater, which is how it was built. And it was originally built in 1920. It burned down, and it was rebuilt in
Burned down in 20?
It burnt down in 1929, the same week that the stock market crashed. And then it was rebuilt in 31. It was originally made out of wood when it burned. It was rebuilt in 31 out of concrete. So it's lasted a good while, but the water erosion was really taking its toll on the facility. So we've put in a whole new drainage system, which gave us an opportunity to rebuild the stage. It's now built actually so water will drain through it. Once we were doing the stage and we had the stage opened up, most of the support structure for the amphitheater is actually underground. And it was our only opportunity to get in there and fix everything, which is what we've done. So the audience won't see that part, but the artists will completely appreciate it. And
it was pretty dungy down there.
Yeah.
I've been there a couple times where I had to make some presentations. And
it's beautiful now.
Yeah.
It's state of the art, which will enable us to attract even better performers. And there's a new sound wall, which blocks all the noise from the Hollywood freeway, new lighting positions, new sound, and a brand new picnic terrace that adds the ability for another 125 people to picnic.
Like the Hollywood Bowl, it's one of the few venues in town where you can bring your own food and drink, correct?
Absolutely.
Are there restaurant facilities available too?
Well, what part of this great renovation is that we never had a full kitchen at the Ford, and now we're going to have one. So there's going to be a much bigger variety of food that you can also purchase on site.
But you have plenty of picnic space, correct?
Well, this is literally doubling the amount of picnic space.
Okay.
And the new picnic terrace has beautiful views as well. So unlike the bowl, it doesn't have boxes. You don't sit and eat and then watch the show in the same space. You sit in a beautiful picnic area, and then you sit in a real theater seat.
Yes. So we talked about opening weekend. What are some of the other activities in the next 4 months and once it opens?
So the bowl has a wonderful variety of music, but as you mentioned, the Ford also has great dance, great theater, great film presentations, and great spoken word. And some of the things that are coming up as part of what we call our signature series is pairs local artists with artists who have national and international stature. The Ford, really is about a place for local performing arts groups to build their chops.
Right.
And grow in capacity. It's actually a partnership program where organizations apply to be part of it, and it's competitive, and we work with about 35 local arts organizations each year. So in addition to Aloe Black that I mentioned as part of the signature series, we're also going to have Lila Downs with the Grandeza Mexicana Folk Ballet Company, and a wonderful dance company, Urban Bush Women, with a local dance company, Contratiempo, in a collaboration. We also have a great series for kids on Saturday mornings. Kids are free. Parents are only $5. And it's literally a trip around the world via the arts. We collaborate closely with the County Department of Parks and Rec, and they're going to have live animals on site before all of those Saturday morning 1-hour programs.
It's too bad you're not excited about the upcoming season. If you could just sort of draw you out a little bit.
It's really exciting.
But seriously, so there's a lot going on. There will be a lot going on. So where can our viewers go to find out the schedule, how to buy tickets?
Everything's online, fordtheaters.org.
Fordtheaters.org.
Yes.
There's an S, right?
Yes, because there were actually 2 Ford theaters. There was a smaller theater under the amphitheater. That is now being converted into a grab-and-go marketplace, but there are plans in the future for another small theater on the site, so I think we're keeping the plural for now.
Laura Zucker, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
Thank you again for tuning in to Dialed In. I want to thank my guests, Gail Samuel and Laura Zucker, for taking the time to join me today. As I've mentioned so many times in this program, Los Angeles County is the arts and entertainment capital of the world, with world-class cultural gems throughout the region. Residents have their choice of venues to take in a performance. But when it comes to taking in music and the arts during the warm summer night, there is simply no better place than the Hollywood Bowl and John Anson Ford Theatre. From Mozart and the Sound of Music to opera, jazz, and ballet, Los Angeles County has a summer full of fun for the entire family. Thank you again for tuning in to Dialed In. We'll be back next month with an all-new show.